So coronavirus lockdown 2020, and we're suddenly more aware of our mortality and that of our loved ones, those near and dear. I wrote regularly during the first lockdown. This was one of my early poems, part of which was included in the excellent lockdown poem Arrival at Elsewhere, drawing on the words of 100 poets. Equinox. It's as if an invisible snow has fallen, and the streets become quiet and cautious. Even with virus in sunshine, the air seems clear. Less gases, particulates, every breath we take so much more precious. We are the same under one sun, as setting it catches the tops of flowers, leaves, traces of gold on panelled wood. Code red, amber, green. Green we now know must be the way. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Code red, climate change, unprecedented and irreversible, says the IPCC report. More heat waves, more heavy rain, more drought, more wildfires. The future has caught up with us. We have caught up with the future. The predictions of climate change from years past are with us now. We are living in a true climate emergency, like a pandemic, but one which threatens all of life on Earth, except maybe cockroaches. Will we still have enough time in the next 10 years to claw back emissions, to keep below the predicted rise of 1.5 degrees? Have you heard there's something called environmental anxiety? If you're like me, you'll care passionately about our home, planet Earth. It upsets me that the everyday things I do damage the environment, whether consuming energy or directly contributing to waste. From the moment I flush the loo, switch on the kettle, travel to work, buy my weekly shopping, my ecological footprint is stamped all over the earth, and billions of us do the same. This next poem is written in the spirit of an apology. You may notice a touch of cognitive dissonance. Friend of the earth. Forgive me, I confess. It's a good place to confess. I have a house, gas central heating, and a car. Well, 2 cars, one electric, which I use for work. I have a motorbike, hardly used, and a push bike, used a little bit more. I eat out. I eat sandwiches from Pret. I eat takeaways and other fast food. I eat vegetables and fruits, often from abroad. I eat meat, but I'm trying to cut down. Sometimes I even eat hamburgers. Oh yes, and chocolates, and I drink occasional cans of beer, bottles of wine. I may eat soya, tofu, but what of plantations? Is the future insects, seaweed, and mycoprotein? And I fly, used to, or drive away on holidays, but offset carbon, used to, medium or long haul. I take showers, but not baths. I recycle what I can. I drive to the tip. Donate to charity shops. Use litter bins. I buy clothes, presents, smartphones. I have a TV, hi-fi, Wi-Fi, electric light, dishwasher, kettle, toaster, washing machine, microwave. I have a refrigerator and an oven. But I care about the planet. I think I may have consumed palm oil without my knowing. And, which is worse, microplastics in my toothpaste. I have children. I even have a grandchild, 18 months old. I belong to Greenpeace, the Kent Wildlife Trust, the Soil Association, the Big Issue Foundation, Woodland Trust, Worldwide Fund for Nature, Amnesty, and of course, Friends of the Earth. I am far from perfect, but I care about the planet. One plan from the Nature Conservancy to help slow climate change is to capture more CO2 by planting how many trees the world over? 1 billion trees the world over. This poem was inspired by tree planting with the local Friends of the Earth, something I can highly recommend. Together we planted trees. Together, we planted 240 trees, tiny, nascent, each with a clump of fine roots soaked in fungal, mycorrhizal sauce, every sapling placed in the earth by hand, cradled, cared for, loved, knowing that it will take years, but they will mature in strength, begin to draw more carbon from the sky, pressed in for a snug fit beside a cane, a sleeve slipped over to help protect, as if flesh and blood, xylem, phloem, lignin, wood. I'm reminded of Henry David Thoreau, who some of you may well be aware of, a 19th century philosopher, writer and poet, who stayed in a small hut in Woodland in Concord, Massachusetts, for 2 years, simply to experience nature and being, and he published Walden, or Life in the Woods. He said, "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived." His writing was to inspire James Muir, founder of the Sierra Club in 1892, to protect wilderness. Muir said, "When one tugs at a single thing in nature, one finds it attached to the rest of the world. The battle for conservation will go on endlessly. It is part of the universal battle between right and wrong." Over 100 years ago. Connection with the earth, with the planet, with nature is so very important. Taking time just to be in the moment, in a garden, in a wood, by the sea, on a mountainside, in a forest. Thoreau knew this, as did Native American Indians before him and indigenous peoples the world over. In 2020, I was going to be at the Brighton Fringe for a slightly different programme. When I handed out these leaflets titled Earth, Moon, Sky and Psychosis at 60, most people commonly said, "You're not 60, are you?" No mention of Earth, Moon, Sky or psychosis, to say the least. The next poem is my original Gaia poem. It refers to a once-inhabited island called Skomer off the South Pembrokeshire coast, visited not long after my first breakdown in 1997. Skomer. And the guttering red rock sliced like decks of cards slanted into the sea. And she is there in the mist, in the sea breeze. She is in the gathering dark. She rides the mounting forces which rise beneath the blackening waves, and she is in the quilted sky. She is there in the billowing sheeted veils of the afternoon, and in the rakish cry of the gulls screaming over the graves of shearwater skeletons. She is at the exits of hollowed burrows, among bits of dead bird, dead rabbit, scattered beside the remains of Iron Age homesteads, and she is marking the way in Celtic stone against the unforgiving grey. When you think of it, the very fact that we exist at all, that we are conscious, that we live and breathe in this present moment of time and space in this world, is nothing short of utterly amazing. All things are changing, have changed. Once environmental stories barely reached the news, think of all the references there are today. Last January, Sir David Attenborough said, "We have overrun the world," and is quoted more recently as saying, "I think sometimes we need to take a step back and just remember we have no greater right to be here than any other animal." Conversations change. We find people discussing their carbon footprint at the dinner table and the impact of their holidays. Did you know of the mass of all the mammals on Earth, 96% is livestock and humans, 60% livestock, 36% humans. Only 4% are wild mammals. Wild. Early dawn. With Dad, I listen from the playroom window, waiting for the first bird to sing. He teaches me the voice of blackbird, robin, wren. We write them down in turn, the survey countrywide. Remember the greetings card, which, when opened, played the blackbird's song in your hospital room. Glorious, you smiled, days before you died. We listen now to all creatures at the edge of night. We hear paw steps, tigers in Nepal, jaguars in Costa Rica, find color in moonlight. But there's a closing in of wilderness, plastic circling in ocean gyres, temperatures climbing as carbon burns. An invisible fire drives this emergency. Our lesson, not merely to conserve, but for nature to regain control, to restore. We're at a tipping point at which the support systems of the world could survive or collapse. A quote from Thinking Like a Mountain Towards the Council of All Beings from 1988. To understand in spirit, we need to hear within ourselves the sound of earth crying. And from the same place, our planet is in danger. We all know that on some level of our consciousness. The accelerating ecological crisis which threatens the survival of life on Earth is evident now not only to professional biologists, botanists, environmental scientists, but to all of us. That was 1988. And what have we achieved in the last 33 years? Our track record on this planet doesn't give us a lot of hope, not least thinking of violence, cruelty, exploitation, war. Now hand you over to Steve Anthony for his song, That's Not the Way. Thank you.
Just check. Seems to be all right. Okay. People are pitched into the ocean, killed on film for the enemy. The president weeps, filled with emotion, and it's all caught on live TV. Bomb on a bus, a bomb by the roadside, or the sanction bombs we never see. Twin planes fly into a building. The world is changed utterly. That's not the way the world could be, not the way the world should be. Oh no, that's not the way. It's not the way the world could be, but some don't want to see. No, that's not the way. There's always been war, there's always been hatred. Like there's always been love in the human heart. Animals kill when they're frightened or hungry. This war of ideas sets us apart. At war with ourselves, at war with our planet. As the ice cap melts and the forest dies, a dangerous game we hand on to our children, whose eyes are blinded by the cyber prize. But that's not the way the world could be, not the way the world should be. Oh no, that's not the way. It's not the way the world could be. But some don't want to see. No, that's not the way. People pitched into the sea, the ocean, killed on film for snuff TV. A pilot flies into a mountain. That's not the way things ought to be. But that's not the way the world could be, not the way the world should be. Oh no, that's not the way. It's not the way the world could be. But some will never see. No. That's not the way. It's not the way. Thank you very much.
So about some 50 years ago, Friends of the Earth and Greenpeace were born, and the campaign song Big Yellow Taxi by Joni Mitchell, all following that first view of our blue planet from Apollo 8, orbiting the moon in 1968, an image that became known as Earthrise. Back then, climate change was barely a whisper. It hadn't even created ripples in the zeitgeist. So my poem, Gaia 2020, was first published in 2017. Prompted by a question I asked my late parents, artist mum and poet dad, after they'd died. What do you say to me now? And their reply, remember where you came from, meaning the earth, meaning creation, meaning elements of rock, the earth as a living being. A poem like Marmite. Some may like it, some may not. As my dear cousin Joe said, a long, meandering lament. So it's quite long, it does meander, and in a sense it is a lament. So I offer it to you now, in the hope that you'll like some parts of it at least along the way. And this normally is a 17-minute poem, but I have edited it as well, so bear with while we go through, okay? You ready for this? Great, okay. And there are quotes throughout as well that I'll try and highlight differently. I have an emotional attachment to Earth that goes far beyond my ability to understand or explain. Freeman Patterson. They walk into the middle distance, lit in silhouette, sunset, focused, as if they found an answer. Even from here I can feel them smile. Nothing is left of home. My tears run dry. I can utter barely a word. Syllables clutter at the back of my throat. I cannot spit them out, afraid I may choke or swallow what once meant something. I speak in silence. Mum, Dad, what do you say to me now? Remember where you came from. The largest of the 4 terrestrial planets, alongside Mercury, Venus, Mars, and the most dense in the solar system, 4.5 billion years old, spinning on a tilt, creating seasons with the sun, attracted to the moon, gravity causing ocean tides, a gradual slowing, alien, wild as night. A heart of solid iron, surrounded by liquid iron, generates the magnetic field, leads birds migrating, dense mantle drives rigid tectonic plates, moving over each other, moving under each other, shifting like the bones of a growing skull or the slow breathing of a sleeping dragon. Take time, Earth's time, time-lapse, millions of year into an hour, watch its supple, liquid movements, different tissues stretching. Slow down the conversation of birds, speed up the vibration of earth, listen to her voice, the resonance of stone. 5,500 degrees at its center, close to the surface temperature of the sun. 3/4 covered in water, thin oceanic crust, the continental crust, less dense, silicate feldspar, quartz, and the guttering red rock, sliced like decks of cards slanted into the sea. Little fingers playing castles in the sand, castles of stone. You breathe through the biosphere, holding the keys to time, Mother. Only 1% of all species that ever lived are alive today after several mass extinction events, and likely to be more. The Earth at midlife crisis. What cataclysmic shrug when Thea, the size of Mars, hit Earth a glancing blow and loosed pieces coalesced into moon. Dissolved salt from weathered rock fills our capillaries, bathes every cell. Hemoglobin binding, attending to oxygen in our blood. Hematite, a crystal to help balance our emotions. Rock, rain, river, sea, blood, stone. Xylem, phloem rock, neuron rock, artery, vein rock, vibrant crystal rock, timeless, ageless, weathered rock, water over stone, stream rock, fossil, petrified wood, lignin, strata, bedrock. The magnetic fabric of rock preserved, locked in, a geographical record over a geological scale. Conversation between the rock of mountains, living echoes, stone, cliff, valley. We live in a beautiful world. Coldplay. The height above the surface where water boils at body heat. Summer breeze blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Seals and Crofts. The radiance of Earth's chakra, aurora, particles charged from the sun accelerate along lines of magnetic fields, strike atoms in the upper atmosphere, cause electrons to shift to higher energy states, and when they slip back, drop an orbit or two, emit photons, light at different frequencies, different energies, cosmic rainbows. In this latest snapshot of a century, silica in microchips, printed in circuit boards, touch-sensitive screens, the face of artificial intelligence, Earth finds a mirror. Young then, we accepted trees on the ridge as friends, climbing their branches as into the arms of parents. Autumn, Ted Walter. I used to live in Chelsfield, Chell meaning chalk, chalk fields, farmers turning earth, chalk, flint, the roots of language reaching through time like genes to their origin. Earth's gifts, there's enough to go around, but only if we are not constantly at war, mowing people down with guns, engines and wheels, or as countries threatening annihilation. And what is life? An hourglass on the run, a mist retreating from the morning sun. John Clare. I don't know who to trust anymore. Neil Young. He has assembled her spine. He cleaned each piece carefully and sets them in perfect order. Ted Hughes. How I've loved you, how I cry for you, as we continue to pollute land, sea, air, carbon dioxide rises, carrion crow from a skeleton tree, clouds suspended beneath a universal sky. Under a canopy of stars, you saw me unfold from a scattering of bones to the muscled heat of a bear. Leaves grow out of its granite mouth. The green man, green spirit, looks on furious. There is no true ritual of respect, no real united sense of urgency, insufficient desire to turn around what otherwise seems to be our destiny. We need to reconnect with all that earth is, rediscover the moment, uncover the profound, inspire the sculptor to reveal and polish the hidden silk skins of stone. Today I am a small blue thing like a marble or an eye. Suzanne Vega. The beauty spoken of by astronauts, those first color pictures, horizons, Earth rising like the moon, 1968. Look at you, suspended in the night, perfectly blue, perfectly round, dancing among stars. I cry for all that is lost, for all we have done, for all we have not done, for all who are to tread upon and stumble on what remains. We are spirits in the material world. Police. Curlews heard through an open cottage window, across fields, summer dawn, breaking sky, One Tree Hill. The long garden behind the cottage, remembering 40-40, playing hide and seek with cousins, boy to girl, coming if you're ready or not. Easter sunshine on Granite's Lakeland hills, Eskdale, Ennerdale, Shap. My uncle swimming naked in a rocky golden stream, the water's colour leached from grassy fields, ringed with necklaces of stone. The earth does not belong to man, man belongs to the earth. This we know, all things are connected. Chief Seattle. You gave us oil, we gave you plastic, we darkened the skies with the remnants of combustion. Dead men naked, they shall be one with the man in the wind and the west moon. Dylan Thomas. All that we have made, we have taken from you. Forgive us. All that we have mined, drilled, exploded, plundered, we have taken from you. Forgive us. You give us water, water which we squander. Forgive us. You have embraced the sun's warmth, fed us, clothed us, yet we burn the fuel laid down within your skin, pollute the air, waste all that you give us. Forgive us. We have grown from you. We live with you. Without you, we die. You have breathed life into animal, into plant. You have traced the moon on my chest. When I die, what will I have done for you? Far above the world, planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do. David Bowie. The church bell chimes 12. Listen as we revolve to the spirit of our ancestors, douse subtle energies, earth energies, reach below surface to a darker ecology, to what it means truly to sustain. Shaman, tiger, eagle, bear, naiad, dryad, water, tree. Let me lean my head upon your shoulder, Father. Silurian, Devonian, Jurassic, Eon, era, epoch, age, Anthropocene. Please do not throw this away. There is no away. Interface. Just to be in silence, in the woods at dusk, embraced by the scent of damp grass, the last sun sinking, earth firm beneath body to celebrate the turning of the day, the cycle of the moon, only broken by the faint sound of animals shifting as fallen twigs snap under cloven hooves, and the world spins ribbons of new tomorrows. So many millions of species still unknown. Some predict an ice age to begin in 2030, when sun flares drop and we reach a Maunder minimum, frost parties on the Thames, impermanence on a considerably permanent planet. As a teenager, I read and reread books on animals: lions, cheetahs, gorillas, chimps, wild dogs, dolphins, whales. The blue whale's penis is 9 feet long, which may require additional self-control. Heathcote Williams. At the ocean's edge, the sea sifts through hieroglyphs of broken rock. Sense the easy flight of Jonathan Livingston's seagull. Seek a universal answer, something other than 42, but including the words David Attenborough. What are we and our children going to do? Cut back on carbon, save habitats, think differently, sustain, unite in our concern? If I could but live to see the year petrol and diesel cars are banned, and in the end, we will all leave this third rock from the sun. The ending of our lives, like locking the door on an empty house for the last time, hollow with carpets which comfort no one, curtains which remain open. No footfall, only daylight gradually driven out from the corners of the rooms as sun escapes with the blue. To leave a couple standing, looking out of the window, their arms around each other. Because I will miss you, we'll miss this, our home. Thank you. And I thought I'd leave you on a gentle note, taking the steps to the pulpit. Remembering a project, Groundswell 2000, the mission to awaken and unite spiritual concern for the earth and its people from 20 years ago. This is a quote from what was originally attributed to Nelson Mandela, called Overcoming Fear, but it's probably from Marianne Williamson's A Return to Love. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. So to close, this poem is dedicated to Extinction Rebellion, who recently started their latest fortnight of demonstrations, and some of you may have witnessed those in London, like I did yesterday. It's called Rebel XR. Rebel because it isn't fair. Rebel because it matters. Rebel because we are one blood. Rebel to save the planet. Rebel because it's their fault. Rebel against greed, greed, greed. Rebel with a cause. Rebel because it is. Rebel for Mother Earth. Rebel for sisterhood. Rebel for you, for me. Rebel for climate justice. Rebel for our children. Rebel with a conscience. Rebel because we care. Rebel for freedom. Rebel to be. Rebel for life. Rebel for brotherhood. Rebel without violence. For peace. We are one world. We have to do this together. Thank you. Over to Steve.
They paved paradise, put up a parking lot with a swanky hotel, a Starbucks, and a swinging hotspot. But don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. They took all the trees and put them in a tree museum. And they charged the people $1.50 just to see them. More like $25 these days. There's always ways to go, that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They pay paradise and put up a parking lot. Hey, farmer, farmer, put away that DDT. Give me spots on my apples, but leave me the birds and the bees. Please, don't it always seem to go, that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. We pay paradise and put up a parking lot. And late last night I heard the screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Oh, don't it always seem to go, that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They pay paradise and put up a parking lot. Oh, don't it always seem to go, that we don't know what we've got till it's gone. They pay paradise and put up a parking lot. They pay paradise and put up another parking lot. They pay paradise and put up another parking lot. And it's always the same.
Great, thank you. Steve Anthony, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. If you want to know any more